because we don't want to have to subtitle the entire thing to be able to share it with the rest of the player base. So who is going to have the first question today? Midgard.
Do you plan on having a re-release and marketing campaign with the new engine?
Yes, absolutely. Our marketing department is super excited about the opportunity to re-release the game and basically sell it again. Because it's been a very difficult job for them to work with it for quite some time. Because marketing departments, they want to sell something that's flashy and new and sexy. And we're 10 years old. So they look at it and they haven't been too into doing the marketing end of it for us. And besides, after the release of the new engine, it's going to look pretty good. You guys are going to have a chance to see it today. So they're very excited about it, so I'm pretty convinced they're going to do something. And there is, of course, budget already allocated to it, so it's we're pretty excited about it. Yes, is the short answer. Yeah.
What kind of marketing techniques do you plan on using? Like commercials or?
Yes, we're going to put a commercial in the Super Bowl. No, I believe it will be all print media, web media, and it's not going to be a television commercials because it would be really, really difficult to try and make that pay off because that's millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
So it's more going to be kind of a word of mouth, print media, and the websites. We released this engine, so I imagine we're going to get some coverage without paying for it because Duke Nukem was released. We're next on the list, I believe. So people will notice there's a lot of people out there waiting for the new engine to come out. You look at all the videos on YouTube and different sites and different forums, and it's all play again when the new engine comes.
Right.
So we're kind of waiting for that day too. We are really excited about getting it done. We are really sick of it. We want it to be done. So it's getting full focus right now. Anybody else?
Character balance? Will that be out this year? Or?
God, I hope so. Yeah. No, we're working on having that complete before the release of the new engine. And we're also hoping the engine will be complete this year as well. Perhaps a little explanation type thing about where the engine is, just briefly while I have everybody in the room, is when we started integrating the engine from Conan, we were aware that they were going to be doing some works on optimizing the way it performed, in terms of the way it, the technical stuff isn't very interesting, but it was difficult to run it on high settings for most machines. So we knew they were going to do some optimization work, but we weren't, we were, I know what everyone's favorite part of the video is going to be. What was I talking about? No, I'm sorry. We weren't aware of the extent that the optimizations were going to be done. So basically what happened was that Pars 2 you'll meet later because he's going to be doing the engine demonstrations. He would complete a feature like the amazing wavy grass that we put a video out of almost a year ago. And we'd be very excited about it, and we were so thrilled to be able to, whoa, look, it's moving, and it was very exciting at the time, so we took just a quick 17-second video and put it out there. Then the next kind of version of the engine that we got, the grass was gone, the ground was gone, people's heads were gone, and buildings were inside out. So, at the same time, it's like if we'd taken the original Conan engine and kept it as it was, we would have lost out on the benefit of a lot of the optimization work that they did. And a larger percentage of the player base would, the day that we put out the new engine, wouldn't be able to play it. They'd have to use the old client, so there wouldn't be any change for them. So it's taken longer because we've had to wait for the changes, because we've had to fix the same thing 5 or 6 times. But in the end, it's going to be worth it because more of the people will be able to use it. Not everybody's going to have to run out and buy a new machine to play the new engine. So the optimizations have been worth waiting for. And there's also going to be less versions of the engine within the building, so that they don't have to support things that are too vastly different from one. I can't remember what the original question was, but that was pretty important stuff. Yes?
Yeah, the news about the rechain,
The breed change. That is actually done and complete. And as scary as it is, it does work. Yeah, I was really surprised. I thought it would be harder, but it's just not enough of a challenge for the lead coder, I guess. But we haven't been putting that in because we were waiting to put that out with the rebalance work. We didn't feel that it was especially necessary to be able to swap back and forth between breeds at the moment. But I imagine it could go in, but it's kind of with the balance stuff, I think. Change everything at the same time, then give people the option to change and customize themselves as they like within a period of time. So
The surgery machine.
yes, but it's not that fast. It takes a moment to completely resequence all of your character, right? And you'll have to, of course, breed change. You've got to get naked first. So it's like a perk reset or anything else like that. Second favorite part of the video. You won't be able to tell in the video, but she also smells fantastic.
Well, she still smiles, that's good.
She'll throw stuff at me later. Anyone else have a question?
As
Doc
somebody
Oliver.
who likes throwing icons at you, graphically speaking, is there any chance that some of the new textures or stuff will be inserted into the game before the end of the set?
Sure. The problem is with a lot of the new texture work the artists are doing, it's built specifically to support the new engine. If we put those textures in the game right now, you really wouldn't see any difference. It might be a little more high res, might be a little bit better, but it's not going to have the shiny the new engine can provide. Putting them in right now, it's not really going to make any difference in terms of what you guys see. There are some texture things that are being done, like the excellent work that Laurie is doing for us in the tier armor, that we'll probably put in before the engine goes live. But most of the work the artists are doing right now aren't really suited for what we have running at the moment.
Because I noticed that some of the missions, some of the textures have been bumped up with the new textures, and it did make a difference.
Yeah,
Visually made a difference.
Yeah, Tony Masterbastard went through about a year or so ago and updated some of the tiles with the new engine in mind, and wanted to go ahead and try to put them in just to see how it would work in the old client. And yes, it does make a very nice difference. It does.
I mean,
But
you might say it doesn't make a whole lot of difference, but speaking as an artist, it made a difference. I
it
noticed
does
people-
help, and you'll notice it because of the higher resolution. It's practically double the res of the old textures that were in there. But you'll see an even bigger difference once the engine comes. It will have the spec and the normal maps and all the good lighting inside of it as well.
Yeah, the reason I was asking that is because you were kind of talking about having both engines running concurrently at the
Yes,
time.
yes.
So you're gonna have to put them in anyways. Why
Yes.
not give it to us now?
That's the plan. Is we're going to have the two engines because we took hardware profiles from everybody as they logged in, and the analysis that we were seeing at the beginning, and the engine has been the new engine has been through some optimization phases since.
Remember, we have a minimum system requirement optimized here that we can test on. It's only 11
You'll be in
years
touch.
Old. It's only 11 years old, my computer. If it runs layout, you're
Okay,
fine.
but anyway, the number that we saw of the people that if we just ran the one client that would be left behind was far too big to be acceptable. It was between 15 and 25% by estimates. And when we have a group, a tight community, it's like who would it be okay for me to take 15% of you and say, I'm sorry, you can't play anymore. So that's another part of the reason that things took time. Trying to make things so that it works in a new version and trying to make things so it's reverse compatible with everything. There's going to be 2 resources for pretty much everything in the game. The client's going to get significantly bigger, so it's a good thing disk space is cheap. But it's it's going to be something else. New textures, there's about approximately 425 playfields in Anarchy Online. It's enormous. We really kind of take for granted how many different spaces there are. Run through a door, different room, run out of the door, different playfield. Run into Shadowlands. That Shadowlands playfield is split in a bunch of zones. 425 playfields. So when the new engine launches, just so nobody's got a kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? The expectation that absolutely every single thing in the game is going to be new. I don't want you to have that expectation. The new lighting is going to make a big difference to the way you view the world, and the way that the textures are processed is going to definitely help. But we're going to have to be taking larger sections of the game and updating them as time goes by. So there might be a old Athens patch. And then the next one, as the artists get to work their way through all of those resources, might be the Sector 42 patch.
You guys will get a chance to see today when we show off the
Yeah.
engine, some of the new resources they have recreated. We've got Borealis in today.
Yeah,
and
we're looking at
some
Borealis
entertainment.
today. I think.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Stuff.
If we're taking 10 or 15 of you away at a time and you're not coming back, then you can worry. We must preserve the secret.
I'd be
Okay.
worried if I'm in the first group then.
You have to put up your hand. Next. Are we done?
No, it has nothing to do with the future, but I was just curious to know, in recent years, what was the most difficult decision you had to make as a group?
Most difficult decision we've had to make?
Yeah.
Just for the camera, he was asking what the most difficult decision I've ever had to make was.
Steak or chicken?
Steak or chicken? Keep meatloaf or fire Gary Busey? That's right. That's a tough one. Actually, the members of my team make fun of me a lot because I like to think of myself as a reasonably intelligent man, but I have no short-term memory.
This is true. This is true.
So something that happened kind of 2 months ago, I don't really kind of remember it. I know that sounds really bad, and this is probably not going to be good on the internet, but it's one of the things that allows me to keep kind of working on the same project and dealing with the same issues a lot, is that I don't remember it over and over again. But toughest decisions, we've had a great many of them, like the decision to support both the old clients and the new client. I knew the entire player base was very much, kind of waiting for the new engine to come out, and I knew it was going to delay us quite a fair amount of time. But to look at it and say, okay, either we're going to do this or we're not, was adding a significant amount of time to the project and a significant more amount of money to get it complete. Making that decision was pretty tough, but it was one of those things where who do we leave behind? What's acceptable? But from a business perspective, that's a tough one to look at. But it's more a question of kind of customer loyalty over a long period of time. There's terrifying decisions we make on a weekly basis. We never know what's going to explode next. The game has been running for 10 years, but we still manage to find small little things all the time that blow up. Like on Monday, was it Monday this week? Who plays on Rubica 1? Who didn't get to play on Rubica 1 on Monday? Because we had the dimension went down. And after doing some analysis and digging through everything, because we couldn't, when we bring it back up, it would just go right back down again. The original mission system was built sort of 10 years ago. Well, actually, it was repaired and made better by Enno a long time ago. But it was made to hold a limited number of. You take a mission, that mission gets a unique identifier. It's associated with you forever. And because these IDs are never being reclaimed by the system. There's 4.4 billion of these things. And you guys managed to run us out of IDs. So the server would go to get a new ID and be like a guy standing and looking in a blank cupboard when his wife just told him to go get something out of So the servers would hang and would stop. So our brilliant lead coder managed to figure out a way to get things back up. But this kind of stuff, it's pretty regular. It happens all the time.